You prayed. Not the lazy kind of prayer, the real kind. The kind where you got specific. The kind where you stopped pretending and you actually asked God for the one thing you needed most. And nothing happened. No answer. No door. No sign. Just silence. And somewhere in that silence a thought you don't say out loud started to grow. Maybe he heard me and said no. Or maybe he wasn't listening at all. Here's what makes unanswered prayer so heavy. It's not just the thing you didn't get. It's what the silence seems to say about you. Maybe my faith was too small. Maybe I prayed wrong. Maybe God answers other people, the ones who deserve it, and I'm just not on that list. And if you've ever stood in that place, at a hospital bed, over a marriage that didn't survive, beside a prayer you've repeated for years with no reply, then you already know this is not a small question. This is the question that quietly decides whether you keep believing at all. So let's stop pretending the answer is simple. And let's look at what the Bible actually does with unanswered prayer, because it does something most people were never told. There's a man in the New Testament who prayed one of the most desperate prayers in Scripture, and God told him no. His name was Paul, and he wasn't a weak believer praying weak prayers. This is the man who wrote half the New Testament. Paul had something he called a thorn in the flesh. We don't know exactly what it was, an illness, a person, a relentless temptation, or a chronic pain. But we know it tormented him, and we know what he did about it. 3 times, he says, he begged the Lord to take it away. 3 times. This wasn't a casual request. This was a man on his knees, asking the God he served with his whole life to remove the thing that was breaking him. And God's answer was no. But listen to how God said no. He didn't go silent. He answered, just not with the answer Paul wanted. He said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Now hold that next to another prayer. The night before the cross, in a garden called Gethsemane, Jesus himself prayed that the suffering ahead would pass from him. The sinless Son of God asked the Father for another way. And the answer was no. There was no other way. If even Jesus prayed a prayer the Father did not grant the way he asked, then an unanswered prayer is not proof that God has abandoned you. Sometimes it's proof you are standing exactly where the most loved people in Scripture once stood. So why does God say no? The Bible gives us reasons that are far more honest than the ones we usually hear. Sometimes the answer is no because we're asking for the wrong thing. James says it plainly, we ask and don't receive because we ask with the wrong motives, to spend it on our own pleasures. That's uncomfortable, but it's also a mercy. A good father doesn't hand his child everything the child screams for. Sometimes the answer is not no, it's not yet. The timing you're demanding and the timing God is working on are not the same clock. Isaiah says it directly. His thoughts are not our thoughts, and his ways are not our ways. The silence you're calling absence may actually be preparation. And sometimes this is the hardest one. The answer is no because God is after something deeper than the thing you asked for. Paul wanted the thorn gone. God wanted Paul to discover a strength that only exists in weakness. If God had said yes to the small prayer, Paul would have missed the larger gift. So let me ask you something, and be honest, because no one's listening but you and God right now. Is your faith built to survive a no? Because there's a version of faith that only works when God is performing. It trusts Him as long as the prayers get answered, as long as the healing comes, as long as the door opens. But the moment God says no, that faith collapses because it was never really faith in God. It was faith in getting what you wanted with God's name attached to it. Jesus had something very specific to say about that. He warned about the seed that springs up fast and dies the moment the heat comes. A faith that can't survive an unanswered prayer is a faith that hasn't been forged yet. And I'm not telling you that to shame you. I'm telling you that because I believe you're capable of more than a faith that only holds in good weather. Here's the second thing, and it changes everything. Notice that in every one of these prayers, Paul, Jesus, the prophets, God's no was never silence. He answered. He just didn't answer with the outcome. He answered with his presence. Paul didn't get the thorn removed. He got grace sufficient for it. Jesus didn't get the cup taken away. He got an angel sent to strengthen him. The pattern of Scripture is not that God always gives us what we ask. The pattern is that God always gives us Himself. So maybe the question was never, why won't God answer? Maybe the question is, would you recognize His answer if it came as His presence instead of your outcome? I'm not going to tell you that every unanswered prayer has a happy explanation you'll get on this side of heaven. Some of them you won't understand until you're standing in front of Him. That's the honest truth. But here's what I can tell you. A God who would let His own Son pray in a garden and still walk into the suffering for you is not a God who ignores you. The cross is the proof that even God's hardest no was carrying a yes you couldn't see yet. So here's what faith actually asks of you. Not to stop praying, not to pretend the silence doesn't hurt, but to keep bringing the prayer and to trust the one you're praying to more than the answer you're asking for. That's the kind of faith that doesn't break when life does. That's faith forged in fire. And if you've ever felt that, heaven going quiet while everything around you falls apart, then there's one man in the Bible who lived that more than anyone. He lost everything, got no explanation, and still would not let go of God. The next video is his story. It's called The Story of Job, Faith When Nothing Makes Sense. It will be on the channel next week. So, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do it now so you do not miss it. God bless you.